All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Okay. Week 5, a couple announcements. We do have 221 writing resume workshop in this building at 6 p.m. If you need help writing a resume, our division's hosting this. Career Services will be there as well. You don't need to RSVP. Just show up here in the building. There'll be signs where the room's going to be. I know it's going to be, I believe, in the bottom level here. And so, anyway, 221, February 21st, I believe it's a Tuesday, 6 p.m. There'll be folks there to help with your resume as far as online strategies on searching for jobs, better resume writing, and better interview techniques. And so, yeah, it'd be well worth coming. Doesn't cost anything. There'll be refreshments there as well. Questions about that? Resume writing workshop. Again, you don't have to RSVP, but definitely recommend it. The next is March 1st. March 1st is the next hour of code downtown Rockford in the RR Star building. We have Rock Valley College has a location down there as well. On the second level, it's all Rock Valley College if you've not been there. And it's going to be from 5 to 6. It's a Wednesday, and it's March 1st. You do have to RSVP for that. It is limited seating. We're about 3/4 of the way full right now. And so if you do want to go to that, it's a lot of fun. They have a lot of, you get a certificate of completion when you're finished. Right now we have 385 folks that have completed the hour of code over the last year, Rock Valley College students and those in the public. And so this actually picture right here that's right here that you're looking at, this family right here on the right side of the screen, they all came and had a lot of fun. And so the challenge is basically to give up 1 hour to devote to coding. The challenge is to demystify computer science by showing anyone can code who knows you might even enjoy coding, and decide to get more training and career or a hobby or both. And these are some pictures of images of students around the world, both young and old, that have taken the hour of code. And it's literally been taken in over 30 countries, something like that. And so anyway, questions on the hour of code? Next is after the hour of code event, we're going to have on 3/25 the Learning Coding with Robots, Learn Coding with Robots event. This is actually what they look like after you dress them up however you want to when you get home. It has little shells that you can put around it, stickers and everything, but it basically teaches drag and drop coding as well as controlling robots. This one does cost. I'll click on here to show you the cost because they did raise the price on the shipping. It's $75, but you do get the robot. That just covers the cost of the robot and shipping. You get the robot, a binder, and a whole bunch of online resources. So avail yourself of that. Limited seating on that as well. We'll be teaching that in here in this room, and we have 20 seats, and they've already started filling up. So probably good to buy that now if you want to do it. Questions on that? So again, resume writing workshop on 2/21, 3/1 hour of code, 3/25 learn coding with robots. The last announcement is jobs. There's job postings on myrvc.org that you're looking at on the screen on the overhead. Avail yourself to look at the job postings. There's one that's not on there that I'm going to announce just to you guys, and it's an internship with our division and Transform Rockford both on taking photos. It is a 1 credit hour internship. I'm needing 1 or 2 students to take the challenge, and all you'll basically be doing is you'll get a calendar of events from now till May. You'll choose what events you can attend and take photos. I'll show you a place where you send them in a Google photo folder, and that's it. And you'll get a credit, 1 credit out at the end of the semester. And so if you're interested in that, just shoot me an email anytime between now and Sunday. If I don't get any takers in here by Sunday, I'm going to then post it on our website here, but I thought I'd give you guys first bids on taking the internship. And so again, it's a lot of fun. You'll learn a lot, meet a lot of cool people, and you'll get to learn more about photography and what, you know, in the field, actually taking photos. And so no better way to learn than actually doing it periodically through the week, outside of class and outside of assignments. So I definitely recommend it. Every class that every Web225 class I've taught over the last 12 years now have had an internship, and so I definitely offer it to the Web225 class first. And again, up to 2 students. I could even use 3 probably. And so on average, maybe 1 event every couple weeks you attend, and you don't have to attend the entire event. Just go to and take photos, post it. Some of the events are college events. Some will be Rockford events. And that's it. Questions on that, on the internship? So if you're a student here, you're good to go. No other references or anything are needed. And that's it. Just a couple hours a week, maybe at the most. And some weeks not even that. So I think it'll be fun for you. So shoot me an email. You can do it now or between now and Sunday. That'd be great. All right. And yes, we do have a Kahoot tonight. It's an individual 5-question Kahoot. And so get your phones out. We are going to be doing, by the way, our quiz on terms at the end of the class tonight. So before you leave, you'll do the quiz, which you'll have 2 opportunities to complete. So if you bomb the first attempt, you can take it the second time. And after you're done with the quiz, we will be done tonight after the quiz is done. So go ahead and go to Kahoot.it from your mobile or from your desktop, laptop, tablet. Type in that pin. It's only 5 questions, and it's over ISO, what we talked about last week. And yes, you can make up your own name. I think it does warn you, naughty nicknames beware. 1 click and you are out. No, it's a lot of fun. So guess we got Pink Guy, Franco, Capoots. Capoots, oh yeah. Kahoot, Kapoot, who cares? Bounce. Oh, it's funny. One of my classes put I did a group one in theirs, and they chose the word unknown. And I go, okay, guys, come on, because there's like 4 groups, and there was 3 groups already signed up, and then there was an unknown. Well, I thought it was just they didn't sign. Nobody signed up yet. They go, well, our name's unknown. So that's anyway. I thought that was kind of funny. All right, so we got Don, Mimi, Don, Jack, Frank, who. Bam, Bows, and Capoots. You got everybody in there? 6, 7, 8, 11, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Does everybody see your name up here? I think I'm waiting 1 more. I count 10. Maybe I'm counting wrong. 1 more. Okay, whoever, I'm going to give you another few seconds, and then we're going to continue. There we go. All right, here we go. All right, are we ready? Remember, the goal is as fast as you can vote what you think the best answer is. The quicker you vote, the higher score you get with the correct answer. Here we go. When you change your ISO setting, you're adjusting your camera sensitivity to sound, light, movement.
So,
What?
Light is the answer. That's the same way of response I would get. Light is the answer. So if you did light, you did good. All right. Everybody got 0 on that one, but you didn't. You won. Shutter speed and blank. ISO is one of the 3 factors that determine picture's ISO exposure. Shutter speed and blank. Exposure, aperture, metering. It's a 3-legged stool. Aperture is the winner on that one. If you set exposure, Wrong, but aperture. Remember the three-legged stool, the ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. Higher ISO typically translate to a noisy or blank image. Wavy, light, grainy. Grainy is the answer on that one. Good job. Freeze the motion for a still. You likely need a blank ISO setting compensating shutter speed. High, low, medium. High is the answer to compensate for a freeze motion, which needs a very fast shutter speed. Tripod with a blank ISO for slow shutter speed. Tripod with a blank ISO. Higher, medium, lower. Lower is the answer, because you're going to be sitting there and it's be very steady, remember, because of slower shutter speed. All right, knocked. One out, whatever knocked is. Go ahead and fill out the little survey there, as always. And again, not for a grade ever, just for fun. So, at least I got some upset people because of the first question. Yes. That's all right. All right. Got one more response. I'll wait a second. If no, I'll exit out of here. You don't have to respond. All right. There we go. Thank you. All right. So we're going to talk tonight about exposure. And the picture I chose is a three-legged stool. To get good exposure, you have to have good aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Those three-legged stool will help us get awesome exposure. We're going to be using the icon on your camera you might have seen or on your mobile devices that looks like a plus and minus icon. It might be square on some of yours. It might be a circle, but it basically looks like this. Some of yours might have something like that. Some of yours might have a square with a plus and minus. And so this is the exposure value that we'll be playing with this week, and your take home will be that as well. I did find a tool for us to use for our thumbnails that we're going to be using, or a contact sheet. And so because Google Picasa is out of the picture now, I found one by Pixlr. Actually, we're going to be using Pixlr this semester quite a bit. Pixlr.com, Pixlr.com, has a component of it called Collage that we'll be using for your, and I'll show you how to do it tonight when we get there. And so anyway, exposure is very important when it comes to getting a good photo. And so we're going to talk about specifically the EV value in exposure tonight. And I do have, and we'll end on, after we do the notes and in-class exercise, we will have and talk about the take-home. You'll end on the quiz on the terms that I gave you last week. Okay. So 13 slides here on exposure. So cameras that meter, or a meter selection in a camera, any type of metering, is where you basically select an aperture shutter speed combination that believes it will give a proper exposure picture. And sometimes we determine what's called the wrong EV value that we'll play with this week to correct the exposure in the image, correctly expose the image. And so exposed value kind of helps us a little bit more with our end result of exposure. And here's what a dial looks like on exposure, on an EV value. You might have seen this on your cameras when you played with it. Slightly overexposing the image or slightly underexposing the image will do different things for the image. as far as making it lighter or making it darker. While I'm thinking of it, who in here uses an iPhone app for your camera? I know a few of you do, right? What is it? What is it that you use for yours? What app do you use?
I just use the camera on my Samsung.
What now?
I use the camera on my Samsung.
On your Samsung. Who is it that uses an iOS app? I can't remember that I really liked. I can't remember. What is yours, the stock one or is it one you downloaded? What was it? Pro Camera. Okay. I was just going to write that on the board because I noticed somebody in here on the middle part that had that. Pro Camera. I was just going to write this up because somebody asked me about last week. The other one too, I think I mentioned here, Camera Plus is one as well. Just you can play with either one. Some have more settings than others, so I thought I'd write that up here. So why do we use EV value? Basically, it's to ensure properly exposed photo. Sometimes a photo might be either underexposed or overexposed. We talked a few weeks back about how the graph that we can see in a photo, when we take a photo, can help us understand the light and dark. And I believe the graph that we looked at, the histogram, showed how you have all true white, true black, and in order to have a properly exposed photo, your camera needs to know what true white, true black is, specifically true white. The universal symbol, again, like I drew up on the board, this one's much nicer. Some of you, again, might have a circle on yours. I've seen them that way. Or no circle or square at all, just a plus and minus, and that's it. And basically, again, it's a universal symbol showing us what to use, generally located on a point and shoot and DSLR or SLR on the upper right corner of the camera near the button to take the photo. It's nearby that area there. You can actually manipulate it pretty easily. And if you have a dial on your camera, once you select it, you can actually use the dial to determine negative or positive on the EV value. So EV value, exposure value, adds more light to pictures. The plus does, makes it lighter. The minus will subtract light from the pictures, makes it darker. So it's pretty simple concept, and it's easier to manipulate than having to go to ISO a lot of times. I'll go to this a lot of times just because it's closer, it's easier to use. And once you use it this week, you'll understand why that is. When you use the EV value more, it's just a really nice setting on your camera to get lighting to be what you want it to be, even though it's not in the physical world like that. You can fake it out a lot more so with the exposure compensation. So plus minus, most of your cameras will have at least to -2, +2. Some of your cameras will go beyond that, both digital and apps, whether you have Droid, Windows, or iOS, either one. And you can, by the way, find some good camera apps that have all the settings we're talking about this semester. You just have to shop around the app store. I'm really not going to recommend any because I have like 10 of them. So I'm kind of biased on some of them because I use them so much. I'd rather you just have investigate yourself, read reviews, find what you like. A good way, I just read the reviews on the apps, and you can even read some blogs of professional photographers on what they use. Because a lot of them do use their phone app when they don't have their camera with them. So they'll use it to do shots as well. And it's, by the way, and you guys know this, the apps have come a long ways when it comes to taking pretty awesome photos. And the output is, 100 times better, if not 1,000 times better than it was 2-3 years ago, as far as mobile apps go. And that's across the spectrum, regardless of what type of device you have. And it has a lot to do with the camera itself you have now in your mobile devices and the sensors. They all truly have sensors, mini sensors, just like real point and shoot and DSLRs do, built into the phones now. When they first came out, not so much, but now they do. So here's a comparison of EV as far as a range. If we start with a -2 on a picture of a knight in shining armor here, you can see -2 is pretty dark, if not black, almost all the way dark black, getting close to that anyway. And as you keep increasing the -1, a little lighter than 0, that's supposed to be as the light is, or as the camera sees the light is in the room. And what's going to determine 0 is your sensor on your camera, your current ISO setting on your camera. Those two, for the most part, okay, are going to determine what 0 is, what 0 sees it as. 1 bumps the light up a little bit more, 1.3 a little bit more, 1.6 a little bit more, and 2 almost whitewashes it out, as you can see. And so by playing with this week, you'll really get to see the range of EV on your photos and see what it can do both positively and negatively to your photos as you're taking them. And again, because of the location of most of your cameras, even if you have a phone camera, a smartphone camera, it's going to be a little easier to access because you're really not having to play with much. And the changes are pretty drastic, as you can see on the screen, versus ISO. Okay, they're a little bit more drastic, meaning if you want to jump quicker, you can jump quicker by just bumping up 1 or going down 1 when it comes to the EV value. You're not having to wait for to play with it too much, whereas you might have to with the ISO a little bit. And so EV comparison will have tons of uses when it comes to your photos, when it comes to light, both good and bad light. Mainly it's going to be used more so in bad light because it's just the nature of why it's being used, because the light's not ideal for the shot. The other thing that's positive about EV value, remember we talked about ISO, how when you do a high ISO, it'll give that grainy effect. Not so much with EV value. It does add light to it, but doesn't get that granulation. It does have a lightness to it, but it's not, again, not going to make it grainy and not going to make it noisy as much as or at all like ISO does. And the reason for that is this is actually something to where digital cameras are a little better than film. The EV value did not exist in film days. EV value is a digitized system only. Everything we've learned thus far, ISO, we've talked about aperture, we've talked about, not went into yet, but we will. Those are all old days terminologies with film. EV value is again new, that really helps with the digitized sensor that we have now, that we can do things we couldn't normally do before. Before we would have to wait for the good light or bring lighting in, which we will have a lighting lab this semester before we do the portrait lab. And so before the days of EV, before days of digital camera, we just have to wait for the light or bring our own light with us many times. And today, we don't have to do that because of this value, which is awesome. So normal exposure of a photo, the most average scene reflects only 18% of the light that falls on them. That's it. A normal photo of a person or an object only reflects off of that object or person 18% of the light that falls on them. Everything else kind of meshes into the background, goes into the surroundings, into the object itself. And it does heavily depend upon what you're wearing. Like she's wearing a white shirt. It's going to really highlight the white shirt with the light. Jeans are also going to as well, as far as the middle part of the jeans. And so the background's pretty light on this one, so it's going to help as well. And so this is pretty normal exposure without any manipulation of any type. Bright scenes reflect more than 18% of light. The slide before would be like if you're indoors in a portrait studio or outdoors during early morning or near dusk. That'd be normal exposure, 18%. Beyond 18% would be beach scenes, bright sand scenes, snow-covered landscapes. And for this one, you need to use a subtract to make it darker on the EV value. Make sense? And so once there's too much light, beyond the 18%, which is normal, that's when the EV value really comes into play. And you can take a really, really bright scene like this because of the snow and bring it down from maybe a -1, -2, and make it look more normal to kind of offset it to what the 18% normally looks like. And so this time of year, usually we have a lot of this around. We don't now, but we usually do in February. And so we utilize the EV value quite a bit this time of year. When you're going outside midday, like noon tomorrow, if the sun's out and there's no clouds, you could run up against this on a very bright day without any snow, but just a sun beaming with no clouds in the sky. Could need a negative value of an EV to bump it down some. Dark scenes that reflect less than 18%, like this one here in a heavily shaded area, have like deep shadows, dark foliage, a black cloth drop in the background. Needs to increase or bump up the EV value, and it's going to take that scene and then make it brighter and add more light to it. Add more light to it. And again, we won't fall into the danger we do with ISO, which is when we bump up with ISO, we get that in danger of getting high anyway, the grainy, noisy, washed out, pixelated kind of look you're not going to get. Now you can overdo EV and make it whitewashed and make it look like a piece of white colors over the top of it, like a white sheet, and you can barely see anything. You can definitely do that. And so, but for the most part, much easier to take a dark scene like this, bump it up 1 or 2 EV value, and the photo's 10 times better. Some others. So subjects against a very light background, main subject will be dark. Subjects against a very dark background, the main subject might be really too light. Or scenes with very high contrast, like midday with the sun beating down on a car or on a sidewalk or on a building, bouncing off and reflecting, or other types of times when it's not that normal 18%. Can anybody think of other times that's not a normal 18% or normal lighting besides what I've already mentioned? How about indoor sports at times or indoor concerts at times? It's not up here, but generally, depending on the concert you go to, can be at times really bright and at times really dark. And so it would help in those situations as well. Indoor concerts, indoor events, sporting events, where you have different scenarios and different lighting. You might have fluorescent lighting, you might have strobe lighting, you might have spot lighting, depending on the concert you're going to. Anybody, by the way, talking about concerts, see the halftime show? What do you guys think of the drones? Anybody see the drones? The 300 drones or 500 drones at the end? That was pretty cool, right? Do you know that was filmed prior to the event? It looked live, didn't it? But the reason it was filmed prior was FCC didn't allow Intel to shoot it live because of the however many thousands of people were in that stadium. But because of the magic of cameras and video, they were able to splice it in and look live to me. And I didn't find out about it till the next day. But that was pretty cool, right? Now, lighting in that sense, was that lighting for that camera to get that awesome shot, because it was cool for the drones to do what they did. But let's talk about what it took to get the video and the still shots as good as they, I mean, there were some really good still shots. So was the lighting ideal for that setting? So do you think there was tripods used maybe? Do you think there was, you know, manipulation of ISO, manipulation of EV value to get those shots as clear as they got them? Yeah, definitely. And so very much a dark background with the light drones in front of them, going from what it was, the flag, I think, to the, was it the Pepsi logo, and then finally to the Intel logo. And then, I don't know if you guys saw the video when they were coming down. They didn't show it, I think, during, maybe they did show it during halftime, I don't remember. But at the end, they actually had a video I've seen after it was all done where the drones actually came down to home base. Did you guys see that one? They actually landed after the event was done, after they shot the video. There was only 2 people that drove the entire operation with the 2 remote controls. One could have done it. The only reason they needed 2 was for backup. If one of the persons passed out or whatever the case may be, the other person could take it over, and they control all those hundreds of drones. So that was pretty cool. And while we're talking about it, because I think it is pertinent what we're talking about with lighting, I did get a video shot of that. See if I can bring it up here of that event. I think I posted it on our Twitter page. It's not a real long, it's just like maybe 4 or 5 seconds. But it's where they're landing in to the from the sky down to wherever it was that they were had taken off from. Oh, find that. All right. Yeah, it's 13 seconds. This is actually where it's landing in. This is after it's all done. I think they shot this in some of the commercials. You actually see some hands grabbing at the end of that. There's some people actually catching the drones as they came down on the ground. But to get the light, to where you could actually see the drones, pitch dark background, but to get the quality of that, where you could literally make out the legs of the drone a little bit, definitely the light, you know, bumping up the EV value would definitely do it. You know, they had to use tripods, get the hands, you know, the hands are not going to be steady enough to do that, you know, because you can see up here, these here are very blurred. This one here is the one that the photographer is focusing on, this actual drone, because everything behind it was blurred. Okay, so correct aperture value, correct ISO value, and maybe even using the EV value on that. So that was pretty awesome. So to sum it up, before we get into the in-class exercise, to lighten a picture, increase the exposure, the EV button, the plus, darken it, minus, and just like this shows here, which I talked about earlier, the spotlight. Was it Luke Bryan that sang the national anthem? I think. Yeah. Okay, the spotlight on Luke Bryan. You know, to get that lighting correct on that photo, do you think they'd have to bump up the exposure or make it light, make it more positive or negative on that? You think to get the light good in a scene like this where everything's pitch dark, but you got a spotlight on a person? How many things you need to use a plus versus a negative? Plus, yeah, you probably need to add a little bit more light into that possibly to focus in on this one unique. Also, not only that, but the flag also, and I don't know if this is post-production or not, might be. And so, but to get into this isolated arena here, definitely have to manipulate some light to do that. Oh, this is what I want you to do for your in-class. You go to our week 5, go back the page. There's a 5 take-home exercise. We're going to actually do it in class, though, to begin with, so you'll know how to do it. I'm going to have you play with it a little bit. And on your Mac, I'm going to teach you some things here real quick to take some photos or some screenshots of things, so you'll know kind of how to do this. I'm going to have you do a screenshot of like 3 or 4 different photos, or you can download some photos. So here's what I want you to do. Once you get to take home 5 exercise, create a new tab in your web browser. And let's go ahead and type in Rock Valley College. Type in Rock Valley College in Google, and then click on images in Google. And let's do this just for fun here. We're just going to play with a couple of these. Just find like about 5 images on this page, on this return page here that you like. 5 images, doesn't really matter what they are. When you click on one of these images, by the way, you should be able to, on all of these, just right click on the image or control click on your Mac. If you hit the control key and click on a picture, just save the image as. And we're going to number these as a name. We're not going to, and by default, it should put it in your download folder. And I'm just going to number mine 1 through 5. So this first one's going to be 1. It's a JPEG. It's going to save it in the root of my downloads folder. And these thumbnails are fine for what we're doing. I thought I'd have to do screenshots for you guys, but I think this will work. We shouldn't have to do that. By the way, to do a screenshot on a Mac, it's a Shift Command. The Shift Command number 4 key will let you do a screenshot. And I'm just saving these images here. There's 3. Oh, I got that. So that was 4. I need 1 more. Let's do as soon as you save the 5 images on a Mac, if you click over to the left side of the Mac here, all the way to the left, there's an icon called Finder. If you click on the Finder, you can actually browse out to your downloads folder, and there's mine. I put in more than 5, it looks like. So you should have at least whatever you put in there. I put 5, and I put more than 5 on mine, but 4 to 5 images is great. Just make sure you've downloaded them. And by the way, if I wanted to screenshot this, like I showed you earlier, say if I wanted to just screenshot this picture of these guys doing signage here, the RBC Eagles athletics department, I could do a Shift Command 4 on the Mac, and what it does is it creates a little crosshair. If you can see it on the overhead, I'm moving my mouse right now. It actually does a crosshair, and it shows you both the X and Y coordinates of that crosshair mouse. So it's 758, 757 X and 800 Y coordinates. So anyway, I can take it on over any image here and select it on a Mac. And if you see on the overhead, when I select it, it highlights it. And I'll let go of it. It puts it on my desktop now. And there it is right there, what I just did. That's how you do a screenshot on a Mac. So anytime you were in here and you want to do a screenshot of a photo, or you're looking at something cool and you want to, save it, some websites won't let you save it by doing a control-click save. You can use a screenshot to do that for what our purposes are. And a lot of times they do that because it's copyrighted. We wouldn't want to put it out. You wouldn't want to sell that, but if you want to use it for class purposes, for example purposes, you can definitely do that. Okay, so everybody have the images downloaded? All right, so I'm going to go, now that I have my images downloaded, back to take 5 take-home exercise. I should have a link there at the top where it says create contact sheet using Pixlr Collage. And if you click on that little arrow to the right of the word collage, it should open it up in a new tab. You shouldn't have to sign in. You can register for Pixlr. It just remembers who you are, and you can save stuff, but you don't have to what we're going to be using it for. So Pixlr Express is the family of Pixlr that we'll be using we'll be using Pixlr Editor later on the semester when we do the manipulation photo and restoration photo, because basically Pixlr Editor is much like a dumbed down version of Photoshop. Doesn't have as many tools, but it works for what we need it for. So what we're going to use for this exercise, just show you how it works, and you can go home and do the rest later. But if you click on collage, what collage is going to do is allow you, it gives you 4 boxes initially. And the easiest way to do this is just to hit any one of, it doesn't matter which box you start with. Here, it gives you 4 of them, but just it doesn't matter which one. Just hover over any box, click the plus symbol on any one of the boxes, and then go to your downloads folder and literally do a command click on all those images that you want to. When you do a command click, it's going to select those images individually that you downloaded. If you select one you don't want to, just click on it and do a command click on that again. So once you get all of them that you want, there's mine, and you notice you don't have to do them in succession. You can, move over 1 or 2 or whatever. And if you mess up, again, it's just a matter of doing command click and selecting those again. So I've got my 4 or 5 images here. Once you select your images, just click open, the open button, and it's going to take all those images, throw them up into Pixlr Collage. And for your take home, you're actually going to do 30 pictures, the ones you did last week with this. And once you've uploaded all pictures, what you're going to do is go over here to the layout, this layout icon. And in the layout icon, you can change the layout boxes you have. The one we want to choose is this 4th one for what you guys will be doing this week. Literally, I think it has 30 boxes in it, which is perfect. And so once you fill up all 30 boxes right with your pictures, we're just doing 5 or 6 tonight just to show you. Before you save it, I'm having you take each box, because the homework assignment is to upload the 30 pictures into Collage, Pixlr Collage, use a sticker, which some of you, I'll show you what those are. Some of you will like those and want to use the stickers. Or you can use text and just mark the caption selected. And you're selecting 5 out of the 30 that you think is the best ISO. It's subjective for sure, okay? Once you've done that, you'll save it as, I'll show you in a second how to save this as a contact.jpg and submit it in this take home. So I'm going to go back to that page, and I'm going to go ahead and hit finish. Go ahead and hit finish, and this will come up. When you hit finish, you have a whole bunch of options down here. Text is what we'll do first, and then stickers we'll do last. Okay? So go ahead and click text first, and select any. I'll go and select the grunge one, the grunge text. And you can select any one you want to. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to do grunge text. Where it says type to enter your type in there, just type in the word selected. You'll actually see it starting to show up on your screen when you type it in. Okay? And you can change the color if you want to. For the most part, I think the color is going to be white, so you should be okay. But once you type in the word selected, in that box, if you look on the overhead, see this box that pops up on your screen and my screen. I can take this little dot right here and go to the left, and it'll shrink it, and then I can put it where I want to in that. So if I wanted to put it down here, I probably have to change it from white to a darker color. If I wanted to, I could do, it doesn't have to be black, it can be whatever color you want to be. It can be pink if you want to. So there's my first selected one. So say I select this one. Once I have it in there and it's in my picture, I just hit apply, and then do that however many more times, which I have you do, 5 of them. So that's how you do text. Okay, now let's go to stickers. There's tons of different stickers here, by the way. I'm just going to play with the abstract. I think it's the one I played with earlier. Yeah, I'm just going to do an abstract. This one right here I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose this one right here, bring it down. Once I click on it, put it in the picture. And I know when I look at your contact sheet, this is the one you've selected as a good ISO. And then hit apply. Make sense? So you can either do text, like I showed you up there at the top left, or you can do the sticker. And again, there's tons of stickers. There's, funny ones. All of them are pretty, pretty good. Some of you might not like, but they have a whole bunch of different ones. Like Valentine's Day is coming up. They have one of just hearts. If you want to do all hearts, I don't care. Okay, you can do a heart on every one of them if you want to. So have fun with the stickers. Just the main thing is you can put a different sticker in each one. I don't care. All right, just as long as you choose either a sticker or text that says selected on 5 pictures out of the 30, and these are the 5 you've selected out of the 30 that you think has the best ISO. Questions on that? Stickers or text? Pretty simple, right? It's a lot of fun, by the way, too, if you wanted to. And the reason we do contact sheets of photography is we go do a photo shoot like you guys did last week of the 30 photos, and you want to, a year later, look at some photos. You can save this contact sheet in the same folder of all the images. And you don't have to open up all the images. You just open up the contact sheet and go, okay, I know what I took here. And much easier to, to grasp what's in that folder. Now, aging myself a little bit, originally this was created to put in the DVD cases, or even before that, CD-ROM cases. We put the contact sheet in the CD-ROM case in the front of it, and then burn the CD with the images. And you can still do that, by the way. If you have an SD card in your camera and you don't want to mess with collages of yourself after you leave this class, you can take that SD card to Walmart and they'll burn it on the DVD and create a contact sheet and put it in the cover of it for like $2. It's like dirt cheap. And so I actually do that a lot still sometimes, because not only does it give you the contact sheet, but it backs up that those photos. Because the one thing you don't want to do is have your photos only on a hard drive or something. And so it does help. And most of you don't have DVD players or CD-ROM players at home anymore on your computers. So really Walmart's about the only place you can get them to burn yourself, unless you buy an external. Okay, so we'll pretend we have all 30 done. You put tons of fun stickers. You spent too much time on that, on stickers, and you guys, what kind of crazy, or you really played with the text too much. But anyway, y'all all 5 done out of the 30. You've selected the 5. Now I'll hit apply on my last one here. And up here on the top left, I'll hit save. And where it says name, I'm going to name it contact. And then click save. Notice it prompts me to download it to my computer, which I'll go ahead and say save. And before you leave this tab, since you've not logged in, now you can create a login, but if you don't, which most of you probably won't, leave it up just in case it doesn't work right. Go back to that folder where it was supposedly downloaded it, and mine was my download folder. Double click on that image just to make sure it looks good, okay? And it's correct. If it's not, do it again. Questions on that? That's what you'll upload for the take home. That basically these pictures are going to be comprised of the 30 photos you did last week. And again, choose 5 of them that you think subjectively is the best ISO out of all 30, or good representation of what good ISO is. And use a sticker or stickers, plural, and text both, or either or. Save it as contact.jpg. Upload it, and that's it for the 5 take-home exercise. Everybody got that? Questions on that? Okay, next. And by the way, they do have phone apps for Pixlr, Pixlr Express and Pixlr Editor both. I do recommend them. It's a good app, or apps plural. So your take-home is to build on exposure tonight is to take 5 settings. Last week I think it was 10 photo settings. This week it's 5 photo settings. Again, that's 5 separate locations with 3 exposures per location or per setting. You're going to do a -1, 0, +1. Yes. Do you want to know? What was that now? Only 25 squares. Okay. When you add more, you can create another page. It'll create another page for you. And if you have to, you can create another whole collage if you need to. Okay. So 3 or 5 photo settings, 3 exposures each setting, -1, 0, +1. Then, so you do the mall. So you go to some location on the mall, -1, 0, +1. Student center, -1, 0, +1. Again, just for some questions on this earlier this semester. These are just again examples. You don't have to go to these locations. Okay. Park, your workplace, your house, all 3 of them, -1, 0, +1. Label the photos once you're finished on Foki in your week 5 album. And you'll label them with basically whatever location it was. To the right of that, your exposure value. Make sense? So mall -1, mall 0, mall +1, so on and so forth. You'll upload those 15 photos to the week 5 album. Questions on that? Okay, let's go back to your question on the collage, because I was playing with this earlier. I'm going to go here and let's start over again, and then we'll do the. Because I guess worst case is we can do 2 of them if you need to. All right, so I'll do this a couple times just to get a whole bunch in there. Let's see what it does go beyond that. Four. I forgot the contact sheet too, it looks like. Okay, so I've got 25 there. Let's see here. We can. I think that's the greatest amount. Okay, it looks like we'll have to do what? This one plus 5, is that right? So yeah, you have to do 2 of them then, sorry about that. So I have to do 2 of them, as it does not expand beyond the 25. So just do this one plus 1 more 5, yes.
Just turn in the second one with the 5 as our best 5.
Yeah, I do like the first one be like, contact 1, or second one contact 2, something like that. That'll work. Make sense? Thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, because if you do this in Photoshop, which you can do this in Photoshop, it has a little slider down here where you can tell how many columns you want, but this one doesn't look like it does not let you do it for whatever reason, but that's okay. It's free, so we're going to not complain. So it costs anything. All right, so other questions about this? All right, cool. Thank you for bringing that up. All right, so questions about the take home, and I will put up here, by the way, while I'm thinking about it, so you'll probably forget when you go home, is I'm going to make a change real quick before we do the quiz. Let me go back to this one, and we'll have to do, we'll do contact 1 and contact 2.jpg. Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. All right, so keep clicking next till you get to the quiz. Now the quiz, you will have 2 opportunities to complete the quiz. It's the highest out of the 2. You can definitely, if you're satisfied with the first time around, you're good to go. Once you're finished taking the quiz, let me get there if I can. There we go. That's what I want. I'll make sure you guys, I want to have you guys see what it looks like before you click on it. So basically you've got the term over here, like the need to control depth of field. Then you select what that definition's about, basically, as you go down. Just like anything on drag and dropping or comparing, I suggest if you don't know one, just go to the next one and just knock them out that way. When you're done with all of them, go back to the ones you didn't know off the top of your head and do a second swipe. Make sense? So first swipe, easily go through, select the ones you definitely know, no problem. Second swipe, delimitate, the ones till you get it done. Once you submit it, if you're not satisfied with the score, it'll tell you what you got, how many you got wrong, how many you got right. You can take it again one more time. Once you're finished, whether you take it once or twice, we're done for the night, either way. Questions before I let you go at it? Okay, and just make sure to put all notes away and begin. See you, Jack.